pull your guns. Go ahead. Go ahead. Get him out. Don't be pushing me around long enough.
In 1944, Bogart teamed with newcomer Lauren Bacall in Howard Hawks' To Have and Have Not.
What'd you do that for?
Been wondering whether I'd like it.
What's the decision?
I don't know yet.
But when it came time to romance with Bacall, he was ready, willing, and able. Bogart fell for her off-screen as well, and Bacall's sharp wit and no-nonsense attitude made them a perfect match.
I like that. I'd like more.
They married on May 21st, 1945, and soon the couple would be back together on the big screen in the classic murder mystery, The Big Sleep.
That's even better.
Based on the novel by Raymond Chandler, the film had Bogart stepping into the shoes of another famed fictional detective, Philip Marlowe. Though the plot was so convoluted that even author Chandler didn't know who committed one murder, audiences didn't seem to care. Comprehensible or not, the film was a big hit, and the Bogart-Bacall pairing was a match made in movie heaven. In 1951's Chain Lightning, Bogart flew the skies as a test pilot working for industrialist Raymond Massey. In between flights, there was time for romance with the lovely Eleanor Parker.
You taught me quite a few lessons.
Suppose we could have got married that night in London. That would have made everything just perfect for you, wouldn't it?
All the magnificence of color by Technicolor.
After years of playing tough guys, Bogart would gain his greatest success cast against type in The African Queen. As the drunken riverboat captain who teams with a prim missionary to sink a U-boat, the star won raves for his performance.
You promised you'd go down the river.
There's death a dozen times over down the river.
You promised.
Well, I'm taking my promise back.
Making an unlikely yet perfect match with Katharine Hepburn, Bogey took home the Best Actor Oscar for the role. Directed by old pal John Huston, the film delighted audiences and critics alike. Bogey delivered another Oscar-nominated performance. Jose Ferrer, Van Johnson, and Fred McMurray were also on board for this excellent adaptation of Herman Wouk's novel.
Mr. Merrick, if you question my decisions once more, I'll order you off this bridge.
Billy Wilder's Sabrina offered a comedic change of pace for Bogart. The tale of a young girl and the two rich brothers who fall for her, it presented a fine cast at their best. Along with beautiful Audrey Hepburn and roguish William Holden, Bogart helped make the film delightful romantic fun.
How do you like those legs now?
David.
Aren't they something?
David. The last pair of legs that was something cost the family $25,000.
In The Barefoot Contessa, Bogey was a washed-up movie director who makes a star out of Ava Gardner. This colorful romance was a big success, and co-star Edmund O'Brien won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Bogart returned to criminal roles for the tension-filled classic The Desperate Hours in 1955. As a criminal holding Frederick March and his family hostage, Bogey showed he had lost none of his talent for playing a bad guy.
I got my guts good and full of you, Mr. Hilliard. Guys like you, smart-eyed, respectable suckers.
Also starring Martha Scott and Gig Young, this thriller had audiences on the edge of their seats. One of Bogart's final films was an offbeat comedy called We're No Angels. Bogey played the leader of a trio of convicts who escaped Devil's Island and hide out with a French family. A fun romp filled with great performances. The film also starred Aldo Ray, Peter Ustinov, Basil Rathbone, and Joan Bennett. By the time the film was released, Bogart was already a dying man. Following an operation for throat cancer, he died in his sleep on January 14, 1957. He left behind wife Lauren Bacall, their two children, and a collection of classic film performances. From his tough guy beginnings to his rebirth as a leading man, he remained a true original. In everything from brutal crime dramas to hilarious comedies, he delivered no matter what the role. Hollywood will always remember Humphrey Bogart.